ang proseso ng mga ahensya sa pamamagitan ng pagsigurado na ang lahat ng ating mga regulasyon, batas, at polisiya ay dumaan sa masusing pag-aaral. Pangalawa ay ang enforcement, kung saan ang mga ahensya na lalabag sa batas ng ARTA ay papatawan ng naaayon na kaparusahan. Guided by these two pillars, our gift of productivity and efficiency to the people will be just a step away. Approve ka, ARTA!
Recording in progress.
Good morning, everyone. A few reminders before we officially begin this program. This meeting will be recorded for documentation purposes. Kindly include your organization and designation beside your name for easier recognition. For example, ARTA-PDO Juan de la Cruz. And please be informed that the microphones of the attendees will be muted during the event so as not to disrupt the presentation. To lead us into prayer, may we call on the Anti-Red Tape Authority's Deputy Director General for Legal, Undersecretary Eduardo V. Bringas.
Let's bow our heads and prepare ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Heavenly Father, as we come to you today again, in this momentous occasion, we ask and pray for your Spirit to be with us so that we may become one, even you and the Father as one. And, Lord Jesus, we ask and pray, Lord, that we will be able to do your will. And I ask and pray, as you stated in Psalms 133, verse 1, that how good and pleasant it is when brothers and sisters work together in unity. In this regard, Lord, as we heard the issues regarding the matter regarding COVID-19, and we ask and pray that we'll be able to help and perform the task and efficiently, and that this JMC will pave the way for the betterment of our men and women in uniform. We ask and pray, Lord, for blessings and protection for each and every one of us, and this we pray in His name. Amen.
Thank you, Yusek Doy. Ladies and gentlemen, the Philippine National Anthem.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Sayang mag-ibig, pero kasinakalan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng mag-ibig, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisingil, magagatas putok sa simuyan, sa langit mo pagaw, ay ginatang sulat, awit sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iinit, ang bituin na saraw niya, kailan pa may di magtitinig, luman ang araw ng buwan, ating pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang hindi kaya na pagkay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Good morning, everyone, to our esteemed guests, our colleagues in public service, our friends and partners in the private sector, and of course, our media partners. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Welcome to the virtual ceremonial launching of the Joint Memorandum Circular on the guidelines on the processing of retirement benefits, gratuities claims, and other entitlements of uniformed personnel and their beneficiaries. I am Elaine Diaz from the Anti-Red Tape Authority's Public Relations Unit, and I will be your host this morning. Please be informed that this event is being streamed live on our Facebook page, Anti-Red Tape Authority, as well as on Presidential Communications Operations Office or PCOO page, and Radio Television Malacanang. You may also get fresh updates from our agencies through our other social media platforms. Just follow us on Twitter and Instagram. It is at ARTA.gov.ph, and for YouTube, it's Anti-Red Tape Authority. You may also visit our website at www.arta.gov.ph. And wait, there's more. We also have our official ARTA Viber community. Simply scan the QR code that appears on your screen to stay up to date on ARTA's anti-red tape programs and initiatives. We are honored to have with us this morning the officials and representatives from our partner agencies. To start with, the Department of the Interior and Local Government, National Police Commission, Philippine Statistics Authority, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Philippine National Police, Philippine Coast Guard, Bureau of Fire Protection, and Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. Now, to formally begin this program and to provide us with the overview of today's engagement, it is my privilege to introduce to you Undersecretary Carlos F. Quita, the Chief of Staff and Deputy Director General for Administration and Finance of the Anti-Red Tape Authority, for his opening message and to discuss the salient features of the Joint Memorandum Circular that we are launching this morning. Once again, Undersecretary Carlos F. Quita. Yusek.
Thank you very much, Elaine. Firstly, I would like to recognize the presence of our very own Secretary Jeremiah B. Belhita, also Yusek Eduardo B. Bringas, the Deputy Director for Legal, and from the Department of Interior and Local Government, my Mista, ASEC Manuel B. Felix, the Assistant Secretary for Peace and Order, on behalf of Secretario M. Año. From the National Police Commission, former Secretary and Commissioner Vitaliano and Aguirre II, the Vice Chairman and Executive Officer of NAPOLCOM. With him is Director Mirna Medina. From the Philippine Statistics Authority, may I also recognize Engineer Marisa Grande. From the Philippine National Police, Police Major General Rolando J. Hinanay, the Assistant National, the Director for Personnel and Records Management, on behalf of Police General Guillermo Lorenzo Elezar. Also from the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Brigadier General Reno P. Tolentino, the Assistant Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel, J1, on behalf of the Chief of Staff, Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Jose C. Faustino. And from Philippine Coast Guard, may I also recognize Commodore Ferdinand Picar, the commander of the Chief of Coast Guard, on behalf of Philippine Coast Guard Commandant Vice Admiral Laroya. From the Bureau of Fire Protection, Senior Superintendent Alma Abakay, Director for Retirement and Benefits Administrative Service, on behalf of Fire Director Louis Puracan, and Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, Superintendent Dennis U. Rocamora, Deputy Chief for Operations of the Bureau, on behalf of Jail Director Alan Iral. Again, welcome and thank you very much for creating this important occasion where we will be launching the Joint Memorandum Circular number 2. And this is specifically on the specific guidelines on the streamlining of all the processes for the benefit claims of beneficiaries of uniformed personnel. Before we proceed with the launching per se, and of course to the messages of those who have been involved in the crafting of this, let me give some of the salient features of the JMC number 2. As a background, the IATF on streamlining the processing of uniformed services benefit claims was established by virtue of a JMC on 20 May 2021. It is composed of ARTA, DILG, NAPOLCOM, PSA, AFP, PNP, Philippine Coast Guard, BFP, and Bjmp. Since then, the IATF has been meeting to review existing processes and procedures and find ways to streamline the processing of the benefit claim and ease the burden on the claimant. While we have been meeting every fortnight, next chart please, we also facilitated some of the problems that are being encountered by our different bureaus and agencies. First is the IATF, specifically the members from the armed forces, from the Philippine Air Force and the Philippine Army, help facilitate the processing of the benefit claims for C-130 victims. Secondly, about I think almost 3 weeks ago, we also facilitated, of course, through the assistance of Commissioner Aguirre and the representatives from the PNP, we were able to immediately resolve the delayed payment of PNP pensions to survivors and total permanent disability retirees. These retirees are more than 20,000 actually. And thank you very much for Commissioner Aguirre, sir, and General Van Lusbo was very grateful. And in fact, I think he texted you personally, sir. And also, I would like to quote one of his several text messages. Next slide, please. Ito, this is only one of the text messages of Police Brigadier General Van Lusbo, no? the president of the retirees who manifested and represented the group. And I quote, "Please extend my sincere thanks to Secretary Belgica for facilitating the resolution of the TPPD and survivors pension problem. With that announcement made by Secretary B. Aguirre in the Dos por Dos program of DZRH. And of course to you, Kaloy. Thank you very much. Please relay also my personal appreciation to Secretary Aguirre. More power to you." Actually, he also texted me yung text niya personally kay Commissioner Aguirre. And mahaba nga, no? And he was so appreciative. Thank you again to the PNP and to NAPOLCOM, Commissioner Aguirre, sir. Thank you very much. Next. Well, back to the JMC number 2. The principal objectives of this JMT is to provide comprehensive, simplified, and unified or integrated guidelines and streamlined procedures for uniformed personnel and their beneficiaries. Expedite the completion and submission of the necessary documentary requirements of the claimants. Reduce and simplify the processes and the commentary requirements of the claimant, and regionalize and or localize the submission, processing, and automation. Next, please. Number 1 feature is to ensure the processing and consolidation of the commentary requirements for the claimant. The claimant shall only be required to submit the relevant application form, letter of intent, or other relevant documents. The claimants may submit certified true copies of the commentary requirements in order to initiate the processing of claims. However, subsequent release of said benefits will be subject to the submission of the original copy. Instead of claimants going around the various offices within the agency shall ensure prompt processing and consolidation of the required internal documents to adhere to the prescribed processing times in their citizen charter. Next. The second feature is the Memorandum of Agreement and Data Sharing Agreement with PSA within 3 months from signing of the JMC must be finalized already. This would include the record data matching service for ease of verification of births, deaths, and marriages, and the batch request entry system, or the BREX, for facilitated copy issuance of civil registry documents. Next. The third feature is the regionalization and localization of claims processing. So henceforth, concerned agencies and bureaus shall implement appropriate mechanisms to regionalize and localize the submission, processing, and release of claims within a period of 3 months from the effectivity of this JMC, subject to existing rules of the DBM and COA. Claimants shall no longer be required to personally appear at the agency's central offices, national headquarters, in order to submit, process, follow up, and receive benefit claims. Next. And finally, the use of digital signatures and digital certificates to satisfy the needs of agencies to verify the authenticity and validity of documents and other submissions. Agencies shall implement measures on the use of digital signatures, digital certificates to sign and verify documents. So that's the major features of the JMC #2. Thank you very much.
Ma'am, you don't have audio.
Okay, thank you, Yusekita, for your presentation. That was very comprehensive. And this will really help our uniformed personnel, especially the retired ones and their beneficiaries. Kasi hindi na po nila kailangan pumunta sa mga headquarters or central offices. Kasi meron na po tayong, as per the JMC, meron na po tayong mga established na regional centers to manage the submission and processing of the benefit claims rather. Okay, this JMC was made possible by agencies working together and adopting the whole of government approach to streamline processes across the government. With that being said, let us now listen to the special messages from the interagency task force members who made this JMC into action. Let us begin with our visionary, hardworking, and hands-on leader, Anti-Red Tape Authority's very own Director General, Secretary Jeremiah B. Belica. Sec Maya?
Thank you very much, Lane. Thank you, Yusek Kaloy, for that very thorough explanation. Thank you for shepherding the passage of and this crafting of this JMC. I would want to acknowledge the presence of our partners who have been our consistent key partners in creating and enforcing the different streamlining initiatives. Sa atin pong DILG, Secretary DILG, Secretary Eduardo M. Año, to our former Secretary and Vice Chairman and Executive Officer of the NAPOLCOM Commission, Commissioner Vitaliano and Aguirre, Tito Vit, magandang umaga po. To the PSA Undersecretary, my friend Yusek Claire Dennis S. Mapa. To our AFP Lieutenant General Jose C. Faustino Jr., to our PNP Chief, Guillermo Lorenzo T. Elizar, to our BFP Chief, our Fire Director Luis S. Puracan, and also to our PCG, Philippine Coast Guard, our Vice Admiral Leopoldo V. Laroya, and last but definitely not the least, our Chief Jail Director of the Bjmp, Sir Alan S. Iral. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat, sa mga kumakatawan ng mga principals, secretaries, undersecretaries, directors, magbuhay po kayo lahat. I hope everybody's well and safe. It is really encouraging that despite the threat of this pandemic, we can just use the virtual platform in order to collaborate and finish important matters. Bilang mga lingkod po ng bayan, tayo po ay laging natutuwa na makipagtulungan sa bawat isa with our fellow civil servants, particularly when it involves action of this magnitude. Great action that the President himself has directed in order to benefit everyone. Noong March 22, ang ating pong Pangulo ay nagbigay ho ng isang malinaw at direktang utos na pabilisin ang mga proseso sa pag-release at pagpa-facilitate ng mga death benefit claims ng mga survivors at mga deceased soldiers and police officers at iba pa hong mga unipormadong lingkod bayan. Kung kaya noong May 20, kami po ay tumawag sa bawat isa to initiate an interagency task force on the streamlining of the processes. And now through this JMC, we are now fulfilling the commitment of our beloved President to our uniformed personnel who dedicated their lives to serving and protecting our country. I have always said, ako po ay isang produkto. Ang akin pong ina ay isang produkto ng pamilya ng mga sundalo. Kung kaya lagi kong sinasabi that our uniformed personnel represents the best of the Filipino. The Anti-Red Tape Authority has always advocated for a whole-of-government approach on streamlining because we do believe that only by aligning and streamlining our processes, we would be able to achieve the promising outcomes that the people deserves. This will provide convenience and comfort for our Filipino people, our kababayans, as our uniformed personnel in this context have been suffering many red tape and bureaucratic limitations in the many years that has passed. Aside from the convenience, this JMC also seeks to afford our uniformed personnel and their loved ones with an efficient processing of their claims so that they can spend the rest of their time with their loved ones. Having a lengthy process is only really an affront or an insult to injury to our heroes who have given their lives in the service of the Filipino people, giving them a streamlined and an easy process would only be giving them something that they do not only deserve, that they should be given also to their loved ones. Depriving them of this with their families is something that we cannot really countenance and tolerate any longer. As the old saying goes, time is the most precious gift that you can give to someone. Because if you give someone your time, it's part of your life that you will never get back. Yun po ang atin pong ibinibigay sa marami hong mga oras at mga panahon na nawawala, hindi na ho natin ito maibabalik. ARTA is very, very, very conscious of this, that the most important commodity that red tape is taking from the people is the commodity of time. Not even money, not even our permits and licenses, but it's time, oras na hindi ho maibabalik. But for our uniformed personnel who have already dedicated and sacrificed a good deal of their time serving our country, likewise their loved ones who have also endured the time spent apart from them, and in some cases, it is for good. But now, truly, we cannot really turn back the time or make up for the lost chances that have already passed. We can, however, show our appreciation and gratitude for their hard work and dedication to protecting our country by giving them a streamlined process and giving back more time for them to use for their loved ones. This is probably the most valuable and rewarding incentive that they can receive in their retirements. This is the true purpose of this Joint Memorandum Circular. As we streamline and simplify the processes, we give our uniformed personnel and their beneficiaries more time, more love, more family that they have ever experienced in the past, rather than queuing all day, having to line up, and just being frustrated over and over again from one office to another. I hope that this JMC will also encourage and motivate our uniformed personnel who are actively hindi lamang ho dun sa mga nawala o yung natapos ng serbisyo, pati na rin dun sa mga nagseserbisyo pa po hanggang sa ngayon. We want you to know, and we want them to know, how much we appreciate their hard work, perseverance, and sacrifice. This is only our humble way of serving the servants of our country. At this point, I would also like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our partner organizations for their contributions in this undertaking. We anticipate that there will be more opportunities for us to collaborate and to streamline and expedite the transactions in government to provide our countrymen the prompt and efficient service that our President has promised. We sincerely hope that we will continue to work collaboratively in order to fulfill every Filipino's hopes and dreams for a better and more trustworthy, efficient, and fast-moving Philippines. Katulad po ng aking laging pinapaalala sa ating mga kasamahan sa gobyerno at serbisyo na ang trenho ng reforma laban sa red tape ay tumatakbo na po at pabilis ng pabilis at ang sino man pong humarang dito ay tiyak pong masasagasaan. Muli, tayo po'y magpatuloy na magtulong-tulungan para sa ikaunlad ng ating bansa at mabuhay po ang mga unipormadong lingkod ng bayan. Maraming salamat po and stay safe, everyone.
Alright, marami pong salamat, Secretary Jeremiah B. Belica. Truly, time is the most precious gift that we can give to someone, and that is what this JMC is giving to the uniformed personnel and their beneficiaries. Again, that was Secretary Jeremiah B. Belica, the Director General of the Anti-Red Tape Authority. Next, let us hear from the Department of the Interior and Local Government, headed by Secretary Eduardo M. Año, and he is represented by Assistant Secretary for Peace and Order, Assistant Secretary Manuel B. Felix. Sir, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. Allow me to greet our dedicated ARTA personnel, of course, headed by Secretary Jeremiah B. Belgica, the Director General of Anti-Red Tape Authority, Undersecretary Carlos Kita, the Deputy Director General for Administration, Finance and Special Programs, Undersecretary Eduardo Bringas, the Deputy Director General for Legal, and of course our partner from the National Police Commission, Commissioner Vitaliano Aguirre II, our Vice Chairman and Executive Officer. He is accompanied by Director Mirna Medina, the Acting Deputy Executive Officer. From the Philippine Statistics Authority, Engineer Marisa Grande, the Assistant National Statistician, Civil Registration and Census Support Office. From the PNP, another partner, Police Major General Rolando Hinanay, the Director for Personnel and Records Management. From the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Brigadier General Reno Tolentino, the Assistant Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel or J1. From the Coast Guard, Commodore Ferdinand Picar, the Chief of Staff, Coast Guard Staff. From the Bureau of Fire Protection, Senior Superintendent Alma Bakahin, Director for Retirement and Benefits Administrative Service. From the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, Jail Chief Superintendent Dennis Rocamora, the Deputy Chief for Operations of Jail Bureau. My fellow public servants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my pleasure to join you this morning for this virtual launching and signing ceremony of JMC number 2, or the Streamlined Guidelines on the Processing of Retirement Benefits, Gratuities, Claims, and Other Entitlements of Uniformed Services and their beneficiaries. Wherever you are right now, I hope and pray that you and your families are all in good health. Unfortunately, Secretary Año cannot join us this morning, but he sends his warmest regards to everyone. This morning's ceremony is a very auspicious and felicitous day for the uniformed services under the DILG, namely the Philippine National Police, the Bureau of Fire Protection, and the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. I'm sure this is equally a happy occasion for the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine Coast Guard. We all know that our police officers, fire officers, jail officers, armed AFP uniformed personnel, and Coast Guard play vital roles and pivotal roles in our nation's pursuit of peace and development, especially at the local government level. Peace and development are two sides of the same coin, for we have to come to know that there cannot be development without peace, and there cannot be peace without development. From their usual roles, our uniformed personnel play even bigger roles at this time of COVID-19 pandemic. Our police officers are posted at the checkpoints. Our BFP nurses are sent to hospitals to beef up their staff, and our jail officers do the best to shield the persons deprived of liberty from the deadly strain of the virus. Our AFP personnel even help in the distribution of ayuda and SAP while having their hands full in clearing the far-flung barangays from the communist terrorist influence. Our Coast Guard, on the other hand, man our seas and marine resources, especially with the brewing issue on the West Philippine Sea, to ensure that all vessels and crew entering our ports are COVID-free or apprehend those who illegally enter our marine boundaries. It is only right and just then that we match their valor and commitment as our way of demonstrating that our government takes care of its own. We thank President Rodrigo Duterte for prioritizing the welfare of uniformed personnel as he was the one who directed the fast tracking of the processing and release of death benefit claims of survivors of deceased soldiers and police officers. On behalf of Secretary Anjo and the entire DILG family, we welcome this huge milestone in ensuring the fast and efficient processing of the retirement, disability, death, and survivorship benefits of our uniformed personnel. Moving forward, this will now be the norm to be followed not just by the PNP, BFP, and BJMP, but also by the AFP and PCG. We also express our deep gratitude because the JMC reduced and simplified the processes and documentary requirements of the claimants, which will make it easier for them to receive the claims that are due them. The establishment of one-stop shops for the police, fire, jail, AFP, and Coast Guard agencies is likewise a godsend to our hardworking men and women, especially those of retirement age who may already be experiencing mobility challenges. We also welcome the helpful partnership with the Philippine Statistics Authority for the authentication of documents and with the Department of Budget and Management and the Commission on Audit on the regionalization, localization of claims processing. For our part, the DILG will continue to professionalize the personnel and services of the Tribe Bureau. We will continue to upgrade the curriculum of the Philippine Public Safety College to be attuned with the times, and we will continue to offer continuing education to our officers. To all Tribe Bureau officials present here this morning, make sure that this JMC number 2 will be really implemented down to the ground. To our friends from the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine Coast Guard, may this landmark JMC signing be a key driver for us to work closely together in promoting the welfare of our personnel. To the rest of the uniformed personnel, may this be a beacon of hope that whatever life may bring, as you fulfill your avowed duties as public servants, the government is here for you and your loved ones. Ito ay isang napakaganda at maagang pamasko para sa ating mga pulis, bumbero, jail officers, AFP at Coast Guard. Maraming salamat po at magandang umaga muli sa lahat.
Marami pong salamat, ASEC Manuel B. Felix, representing Secretary Eduardo M. Año of the Department of the Interior of Local and Local Government. Again, Department of the Interior and Local Government. Tunay nga na paaga ang pamasko para sa ating mga unipormadong mga personnel. Now, to deliver his message, let us welcome Vice Chairman and Executive Officer of the National Police Commission, Commissioner Vitaliano N. Aguirre II.
Thank you, Ms. Elaine Diaz, Secretary Jeremiah Pelica, Undersecretary Brigadier General Carlos Kita, Undersecretary Eduardo Bringas, ASEC Manuel Felix, representing Secretary Eduardo Año of DILG, Engineer Marisa Grande from the Philippine Statistics Authority, Major Rolando Hinanay, presenting Chief PNP Lorenzo T. Eliazar, Commander Ferdinand Picar, representing Coast Guard Vice Admiral Leopoldo Laroya, Senior Superintendent Alma Abakahin, representing Fire Director Louis Puracan, Superintendent Dennis U. Rocamora, representing Jail Director Alan S. Iral, my Acting Deputy Executive Director Mirna Medina, and Director Evangeline Almirante, other guests, a blessed morning to all. It is a great honor and pleasure to be with you in this virtual ceremonial signing of the Joint Memorandum Circular, JMC number 2, in the guidelines on the processing of retirement benefits, gratuity claims, and other entitlements of uniformed personnel and their beneficiaries. Today's activity will enable policing organizations to provide improved financial support for police officers leading up to their retirement. Under the OJ Opinion Number 11, Series of 2021, issued last March 29, 2021, the NAPOLCOM is vested with the sole authority to adjudicate and pay the death and permanent physical disability benefits pursuant to Section 21 of Republic Act Number 6975 and its IRR. As we transition with this new directive, our competent employees who investigate, adjudicate, pay PNP death and permanent disability benefit claims, and grant scholarship benefits are ready and able to fulfill these tasks. This JMC would rather and further enable the Commission in streamlining our process and procedures relative to the application of death benefits, retirement benefits, gratuity claims, and other entitlements of uniformed personnel and their beneficiaries to fast-track the processing and release of the claims of police officers within the prescribed period in adherence to relative laws and issuances. NAPOLCOM is also working on the necessary changes to our respective citizens' charter, and such is currently being reviewed by the core team to align the process with the set guidelines in the JMC. Likewise, the establishment of a NAPOLCOM one-stop shop, NOSS, at the central and regional offices will enable beneficiaries to process their claims with ease. In addition, employees from the Commission undergo continued training on handling clients' requests for an improved service. We can assure you that NAPOLCOM fully supports the IATF's vision of properly compensated police force who have worked tirelessly with us. We are looking for ways to strengthen our security and improve the lives of our uniformed men and women along with their families. This is how NAPOLCOM values their contribution in protecting our communities and the nation as a whole. Thank you to the Interagency Task Force on streamlining and processing of uniform services benefit claims, to our colleagues from different agencies for your valuable and indispensable observations and suggestions, which will greatly help us stay in complying with the set guidelines in the JMC and all other related laws. All these efforts will make smoother the transition of our police officers from career law enforcement to a civilian rule. I would like to commend the leadership of ARTA, starting with the indefatigable Secretary Jeremiah Bellica. Yan po'y bata pa yan eh. Kilala ko na po yan sapagkat magkaklase po kami ng kanyang ama. And I really commend the ARTA as well as the supporting undersecretaries and employees ng ARTA. Talaga pong napakagaling ng kanilang ginagawa upang may streamline ang pagbibigay ng ating ayuda and pensions sa ating mga kapulisan at sa kanilang mga beneficiaries. In closing, let me emphasize that it is the Commission's goal to properly reward our uniformed men and women and care for our retirees who risk and lay down their lives on line to secure peace and order in our country. Thank you, and God bless us all. Magandang umaga po muli sa inyong lahat.
Alright, maraming salamat po, Commissioner Vitaliano Aguirre II of the National Police Commission. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Let us now turn to the Philippine Statistics Authority, and on behalf of the National Statistician Undersecretary Claire Dennis Mapa, we have Engineer Marisa Grande, Assistant National Statistician, to deliver her message. Ma'am?
Good morning. Is my audio okay, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Okay po.
Okay, thank you. To Secretary Jeremiah Belgica, Director General of ARTA, good morning, sir. USEC Carlos Tita, USEC Eduardo Pringas, of course, the energetic and very active ASEC Manuel Felix of the DILG, Vice Chairman and Executive Officer Commissioner Italiano Aguirre II, the NAPOLCOM, good morning, sir. PM General Rolando Hinanay of the PNP, Visitor General Reno Tolentino of the AFP, other officers attending this very significant milestone of the Interagency Task Force on the streamlining of benefits of uniformed personnel. Good morning to all of you, sir. Magandang umaga, naimbag na aldaw. On behalf of our National Statistician and Civil Registrar General, USEC Claire Dennis S. Mapa, we wish to congratulate ARTA for taking the lead in the finalization of these guidelines in the processing of retirement benefits, gratuities, claims, and other entitlement of our uniformed personnel and their beneficiaries. To all our partner agencies who have been patiently coordinating with our meeting, finally, I would like to congratulate everyone for this another milestone of our Interagency Task Force. The PSA commitment, aligned with the Ministerial Declaration in the Asia and the Pacific, with the shared vision of the CRBS decade, that is by 2015 to 2024, all people in the Philippines will benefit from a universal and a responsive CRBS systems. So this Interagency Task Force is an instrument of the PSA in realizing our goal, our second goal, that is to provide legal documentations to the right and the legal beneficiaries of our uniformed personnel and their families. The PSA will continue its commitment and support to the initiatives, to all the initiatives of our IATF, led by our ARTA. Let's assure that the PSA will establish a mechanism that will fast-track the submission of the death certificates and other civil registry documents from our local civil registry offices nationwide, and the processing of their requests through the BREX or the batch request entry system to facilitate copy issuance. The PSA and the government agencies shall benefit from our data sharing agreement through the implementation of our BREX, our data matching services, of course, our document validation services. Thank you so much and have a good day po. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Engineer Marisa Grande, the Assistant National Statistician of the Philippine Statistics Authority. Now, let us move to the Armed Forces of the Philippines, headed by Lieutenant General Jose C. Faustino Jr., represented by Brigadier General Rino P. Tolentino, Assistant Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel. Sir?
Pardon me, sirs and ma'am. I won't acknowledge each and every one of you because you have been thoroughly acknowledged earlier to the max. So let me just say a pleasant day to all of you. The Armed Forces of the Philippines is appreciatively grateful to the Anti-Red Tape Authority in the realization of this Joint Memorandum Circular. Undoubtedly, the AAP is more than willing to continuously collaborate with ARTA in achieving the national government's desire to promote integrity, accountability, public management of public affairs and properties, as well as to establish effective practices towards a more genuine public service. In the AFP, we regard each and every military and civilian personnel as heroes in their own right, who must not be harmed or be victims of red tape. As such, by Joint Memorandum Circular, the sense of urgency and feeling of efficiency and passion about our work will be significantly strengthened. Ladies and gentlemen, soon hereafter designing our one-stop shop and other services on benefit claims will serve an impactful and invaluable meaning of bureaucracy in the minds of our personnel, and importantly, this Joint Memorandum Circular will soon open doors to all other systems of the AFP to do the same. Any service bring back a legacy of public service on other generations of heroes to come. Once again, good day, mabuhay ang ARTA, mabuhay ang Sandatang Lakas ng Pilipinas. Magandang umaga po.
Alright, marami pong salamat. Brigadier General Rino P. Tolentino, representing Lieutenant General Jose C. Faustino Jr. from the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Thank you, sir. Now let us move to the Philippine National Police, headed by PNP Chief Police General Guillermo Lorenzo T. Eleazar, who is represented by Police Major General Rolando J. Hinanay, the Director for Personnel and Records Management. Sir?
Thank you. To Secretary Jeremiah B. Belica, the Director General of ARTA, and to all the other distinguished participants of this meeting, allow me to read the message of our Chief PNP, who is attending a retirement and turnover ceremony at PRO2. On behalf of the Philippine National Police, I would like to express our solidarity with other members of the Interagency Task Force on streamlining the processing of uniform service benefit claims as we launch virtually the Joint Memorandum Circular on the guidelines on the processing of retirement benefits and claims of uniformed personnel and their beneficiaries. The PNP welcomes this fruitful endeavor, which is attuned to our President Rodrigo R. Duterte's orders to streamline the process of claims and other entitlements of uniformed personnel and their legal beneficiaries, especially those who died in the line of duty. Even prior to the crafting of this accord, we in the PNP have long started our own initiatives in ensuring a quick release of benefits for police personnel and their families through the PNP Memorandum Circular 2017-075, published on December 26, 2017, that aims to lessen the burden of the beneficiaries of posthumously retired, separated PNP member in the processing of claims and to ensure the expeditious release of their benefits. The said circular mandates the Chief of Office and Unit Commander of a deceased PNP member to designate a survivor officer tasked to assist the bereaved family or beneficiary in securing the documents required in the processing and timely release of death benefit claims, and to regularly liaise with the bereaved family and update them on the status of processing of the benefits due to them. The Philippine National Police also shares the fervent hope that this symbolic signing will further motivate and inspire us to work more closely together to effectively implement and monitor compliances under Republic Act number 11032, or the Ease of Doing Business and Efficient Government Service Delivery Act of 2018, and Republic Act number 10154, or an act requiring all concerned government agencies to ensure the early release of the retirement pay, pensions, gratuities, and other benefits of retiring government employees. By working together, we can do better in ensuring a whole of a government approach in streamlining and re-engineering government services, thereby making the Filipino people's lives easier. Muli, ang aking pasasalamat at isang mapagpalang araw po sa ating lahat. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you. That was Police Major General Rolando J. Hinanay delivering the message of Police General Guillermo Lorenzo T. Eliazar, the Chief of the Philippine National Police. Thank you, sir. This time, let us listen to the Philippine Coast Guard. And on behalf of PCG Commandant Coast Guard Vice Admiral Leopoldo Villaroya, we have Coast Guard Commodore Ferdinand B. Picar, the Chief of Coast Guard Staff and the Chairman of the Philippine Coast Guard Committee on Anti-Red Tape. Sir?
Yes, good morning. Thank you. Yeah, in behalf of the Philippine Coast Guard, the Commandant of the Philippine Coast Guard, Vice Admiral Leo Laroya, I would like to deliver his message for this activity. But first, let me greet the Director General of the Anti-Red Tape Authority, Secretary Jeremiah Bjmp, and with the indulgence of everyone, let me forego with addressing and greeting all the members and all the attendees here in this activity. The Commandant of the Philippine Coast Guard would like to congratulate the Anti-Red Tape Authority in coming up with this endeavor. As we have heard, everyone, messages have been given to all of us. So the Philippine Coast Guard would like just to say that the Philippine Coast Guard is one with the ARTA in attaining the objective of this, particularly in the regionalization and localization of claims, streamlining and automating the processing of death benefits and claims, and other entitlements of uniformed personnel and their beneficiaries, and the establishment of one-stop shop by concerned agencies and business. With this symbolic signing, the Philippine Coast Guard is in full support for all the incoming endeavors that the ARTA will be coming up. Once again, on behalf of the Commandant of the Philippine Coast Guard, Vice Admiral Leo Laroya, we'd like to thank everyone in coming up with this endeavor. Thank you and good morning to everyone.
Thank you, sir. That was Coast Guard Commodore Ferdinand B. Picar on behalf of Coast Guard Vice Admiral Leopoldo Villaroya of the Philippine Coast Guard. Thank you. Now let us proceed with the Bureau of Fire Protection, headed by Fire Director Louis Poracan. He is represented by Senior Superintendent Alma G. Abakahin, the Director for Retirement and Benefits Administrative Service. Ma'am?
Good morning, sir and ma'am. Allow me to read the message of our new fire chief, BFP Director Louis Espuracan, CEO 6. To our Secretary Jeremiah B. Bilgica, Director General of Anti-Red Tape Authority, together with UC Carlos F. Kita, the Deputy Director General for Administration, Finance and Special Program, and also with UC Eduardo V. Bringas, Deputy Director General for Legal. Also with us, SIC Manuel B. Felix, the Assistant Secretary for Peace and Order, representing our Honorable Secretary Eduardo M. Anyo of the Department of the Interior and Local Government, other officers and representatives of the Uniformed Services, and other members of this committee. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Our journey together in reaching this stage is not an easy task. For and in behalf of the 33,000 strong men and women of the Bureau of Fire Protection, I am sending this congratulatory message to the Anti-Red Tape Authority and the uniform agencies, representatives of this undertaking for finally crafting the Joint Memorandum Circular number 2 series of 2021, which can surely boost the morale and welfare of the organization, a collateral benefit of the real objective and intent of having an honest and efficient governance so desired by President Rodrigo Roa Duterte and this administration. It is worth to mention that the BFP is now sailing in challenging waters towards the realization of its modernization program. Under this development, BFP is no longer tied in its traditional mandate of suppressing the fire. Rather, it now looks into the opportunity of a hybrid bureau, which is at the forefront of responding to all occurring catastrophes and other emergencies. For the longest time being, our personnel and clientele suffer the problems of delayed, if not denied, processes for benefits. With the establishment of regulatory direction under the novel principles of promoted by ARTA, I am very sure that the programs and direction also of the BFP in dispensing its task will become more easier, viable, and comfortable with our mutual success looming in the horizon. With that, my heartfelt gratitude to all of you. Thank you, and again, congratulations to all of us. Good morning.
Thank you, ma'am. Once again, Senior Superintendent Alma G. Abakahin, delivering the message of Fire Director Louis S. Coracan from the Bureau of Fire Protection. And last but definitely not the least, let us have the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, headed by our Jail Director Alan Iral, who is represented by Jail Chief Superintendent Dennis U. Rocamora, the Deputy Chief for Operations of the Jail Bureau. Sir, the floor is yours.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Bago po ang lahat, ihayaan niyo po munang aking batiin at kilalanin ang mga sumusunod na opisyal. Kay Secretary Jeremiah Belgica, the Director General of Anti-Red Tape Authority, Undersecretary Carlos Kita, Undersecretary Eduardo Bringas, Assistant Secretary Manuel Felix of the DILG, Commissioner Vitaliano Aguirre II, the Vice Chairman and the Executive Officer of the NAPOLCOM, Engineer Marisa Grande, the Assistant National Statistician, the Registration and Central Office Support Office of the PSA, Police Major General Rolando Hinanay, the Director for Personnel and Records Management of the PNP, Brigadier General Reno Tolentino, Philippine Army, the Assistant Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel, JI, of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Senior Superintendent Alma Abakahin of the Bureau of Fire Protection, at sa iba pa pong mga opisyal na magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Sa ngalan po ng ating butihing hepe ng Bureau of Jail Management and Penology na si Director Alan Iral, ang Bjmp po ay nagpapahatid ng aming pagbati sa lahat ng mga nakikisa at kasapi sa pagpupulong na ito. We at the Jail Bureau are overwhelmed by the constitution of the Joint Memorandum Circular, which prescribes the guidelines on the processing of retirement benefits, gratuity claims, and other entitlements of the uniformed personnel and their beneficiaries. With today's signing of the second Joint Memorandum Circular, out of the concerted efforts of representatives of different uniformed agencies, all retirees and beneficiaries will be assured of the speedy release of their retirement and separation benefits. Thus, their immediate enjoyment of the fruits of their dedicated service to the public and commitment to uphold the peace and security of the country. Oftentimes, we hear from our colleagues in the service of their predicaments on the delayed release of necessary documents, certifications, clearances, and red tape in the processing of their claims. A perennial problem crumpling the very system of the government to provide efficient and quality service to the transacting public that it even called the attention of our President. The Anti-Red Tape Authority immediately took the necessary action to the directive of the President to the establishment of the Interagency Task Force on streamlining the processes of uniform service benefits claims that set guidelines to ease the processing of the benefits of our fellow public servants. It is also in this line that the Bjmp has established and created the Retirement Separation Benefits Administrative Office. And now that the Joint Memorandum Circular has been signed by the principals of all stakeholders and procedures are specified, all guidelines concerned in the effect are under obligation to comply with their undertakings. There is now in place the guidelines to govern the processing of claims, and the retirees can now be assured of the timely release of their benefits. With this, the Beijing congratulates the Anti-Red Tape Authority for initiating this endeavor with similar appreciation to the DILG, NAPOLCOM, Philippine Statistics Office, and all other counterparts in the uniformed service for the completion and success of this undertaking. Ipinabot namin ang aming taus-pusong pasalamat sa lahat ng nakikibahagi sa gawain ito. Muli, magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Maraming salamat.
Alright, maraming salamat po. Sir, that was Jail Chief Superintendent Dennis Euro Camora, representing Jail Director Alan Iral from the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. We have already completed the members of the Interagency Task Force.
Diba?
We just launched, sabi nga po ni Secretary Belica kanina, we just launched the creation of this task force last May, and now we are already delivering the promise to our uniformed personnel. At this point, we will now proceed to the highlight of this event. Allow me to reintroduce the head of the Interagency Task Force.
Teka lang.
Makikimute po so as not to disrupt the program. May we request everyone, the attendees, to mute your mics po. All right, let me repeat. We will now proceed the highlight of this event. Allow me to reintroduce the head of the Interagency Task Force. Let us once again welcome Undersecretary Carlos S. Kita, the Chief of Staff and the Deputy Director General for Administration and Finance of the Anti-Red Tape Authority to lead the ceremonial launching of this JMC. Yusek Kita.
Thank you very much, Elaine. At this point, may I now, as chairman of the IATF, for streamlining the processing of uniform services benefit claims, may I request our partner agencies and bureaus, the principals, to raise their copy of JMC number 2 to kick off the ceremonial launching of JMC number 2. Please remain and let's have a picture taking. Congratulations to everyone. And of course, we look forward to its full implementation. Pa-picture tayo. Jeremy, ikaw ba ang kumukuha?
All right, sir. In this regard, may we request Minka Tiangco to facilitate the picture taking. Minka?
Miss L. Okay, if that's everyone na, I'll be taking the photo na po. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you. May I request for the spotlight to be removed na po so everyone can join in the photo opportunity.
Full implementation of the JMC number 2, and of course for IATF to start monitoring its implementation. Of course, in collaboration with the concerned agencies, no? Because they are the principal. Parang ano lang tayo, umaalalay, tumutulong. But we will not meddle, no? Because that's your job. Elaine?
Thank you, Yusek Kita. Ladies and gentlemen, the Joint Memorandum Circular on Guidelines on the Processing of Retirement Benefits, Gratuities, Claims, and Other Entitlements of Uniformed Personnel and their beneficiaries has now been officially launched. Congratulations, Yusek Kita. Congratulations, ARTA. And congratulations to all our partners in public service. Yes, Sek Maya.
Congratulations, everyone. Thank you to our dear President. Congratulations.
Marami pong salamat and congratulations, Sek Maya. Talagang commendable po ang ARTA. Bigyan naman po natin ng masigabong virtual clap ang lahat ng ahensyang nagtulong-tulong para maisakatuparan ng JMC nito. Just hit the virtual clap button on your Zoom to show our support and appreciation para sa mga unipormadong personnel ng ating bansa.
Minka, can we request everyone to open our audio and let's just have a real clap just for one siguro para...
Okay. Thank you very much.
Congratulations sa lahat.
Salamat sa inyo.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Aguirre. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yusek
Thank you,
Kita.
Ma'am Hilda.
Secretary Maya.
Muli po, marami pong salamat sa mga ahensyang dumalo sa programang ito, pati na rin po sa mga tumutok sa aming live stream. Again, we invite everyone to follow our social media platforms. Just follow us on Twitter and Instagram. It's at ARTA.gov.ph. And for YouTube, it's Anti-Red Tape Authority. You may also visit our website at www.arta.gov.ph. And please also join the official ARTA Viber community. Simply scan the QR code that appears on your screen to stay up to date on ARTA's anti-red tape initiatives. We have reached the end of the program, but this is only the beginning of this remarkable collaboration. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you in ARTA's future programs and initiatives. Muli po, congratulations po sa lahat ng bumuo ng JMC na ito. Ako po si Elaine Diaz from the Anti-Red Tape Authority's Public Relations Unit. Magandang umaga po and stay safe.
Thank you, Sir Bit. Thank you, Mr. Aloy.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Always.
Okay. Thank you, Hil.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
See you during our monitoring activity.
Yeah. We continue to monitor.
Yeah, we will monitor. We will meet
Thank you,
again.
boss. Thank you, Jeremiah.
Thank you.
Pagbabago ng ating mundo, paunat ng buto. Bumangon na tayo sa bulong sistema, walang asenso. Huwag ka nang makubad na sa'yo ang pagbabago. Limutin na masasamang halimbawa, diskateng panis, itapon na. Magservisyo ng tama, huwag masilaw sa pera sa gobyerno. Dapat buo ang ating tiwala. Paspas Pilipinas, paspas. Trabaho at papeles, huwag nang ipabukas. Wakasan ng rete patlagayan, sundin ang batas, bilisan, bilisan ng kilos, kakanda ang bukas. Paspas Pilipinas, paspas. Kabilis ng takbo ng ating mundo, makunat ng buto. Bumangon na tayo sa bulok ng sistema, walang asenso. Huwag ka nang makupat na sa'yo ang pagbabago. Limutin mo na masasamang halimbawa, diskateng panis, itapon na. Magservisyo ng tama, huwag masilaw sa pera sa gobyerno. Dapat buo ang ating tiwala. Paspas Pilipinas, paspas. Trabaho at papeles, huwag nang ipabukas. Wakasan ng rete at kagayan, sundin ang batas, bilisan, bilisan ng kilos, kaganda ang bukas. Paspas Pilipinas, paspas. Paspas Pilipinas, paspas Pilipinas, paspas.
Jeremy?
Sama-sama
Pasok mo na lang yung iba sa ano. Baka may debriefing pa tayo.
tamang panahon. Matamis na bukas sa mabilis na aksyon. May buwelo na, huwag sayangin ang pagkakataon.
Basta, thank you.
Paspas
Pwede lang i-exit.
Pilipinas, paspas.
Kakaroon lang kami ng
Trabaho at papeles, huwag nang ipabukas. Wakasan ng rete at kagaya.